Hello and welcome to Flyer Nation, your source for the latest news in Lewis athletics. Thanks for joining us here on LUTN and online. I'm Shane Gustafson.
And I'm Natalie Budig. Joining us later on in the show is Lewis head cross-country coach James Kearney. He'll talk about the opening the season at Notre Dame over the weekend, as well as his promotion to head coach.
But before we get to that, let's take a look at some other Flyer sports headlines. The Lewis women's volleyball team played their first home games of the season this weekend and looked strong in front of their home crowd. On Saturday night, the ladies welcomed UMSL to the Neil Carey Arena and played one of their best games in 3 years. The team put together a .429 attack percentage with help from senior Kim Verton and juniors Cassidy Parsons and Alexis DeVito. Parsons hit .571 on the night and had a double-double with 13 kills and 12 digs. Verton picked up 10 kills while DeVito collected 8. The Flyers swept UMSL 3-0. On Sunday, the team hosted Maryville and continued their success. Alexis DeVito picked up 15 kills and 2 aces on the game, and 11 different members of the team also picked up kills. Senior Lee Berea picked up 37 assists and 10 digs in the match, and the team hit .232 on the afternoon. Even though the Flyers played hard, the Saints took set number 3, but the Flyers came back in set number 4 to get the 3-1 victory. Head coach Laura Lee Smith says the energy level on the floor might have been a little bit low in the game, but overall she's proud of the way her team played and got the job done.
Today, with it being Sunday afternoon, there might have been a lull, but they gutted it out. They had great communication, which I think kept everybody involved, and everybody got to play and see results.
The team will be back in action on Tuesday night when they take on St. Francis in a non-conference matchup.
The Lewis women's soccer team hit the road this weekend to take on GLVC opponents and look to extend their winning streak. On Friday evening, the Flyers traveled to William Jewell College to take on the Cardinals, but the game didn't go the way the ladies had hoped. Junior Maggie Moran scored the only goal for the team at the 34-minute mark to tie the game at 1. The Cardinals fought back late in the game and put in an extra goal at the 54-minute mark to take the lead and eventually the game. The Flyers lost 2-1. On Sunday, the team traveled to Rockhurst to take on the number 20 Hawks. The ladies found themselves down early on in the game and weren't able to dig out of the hole. Rockhurst shut out the Flyers and took the game 4-0. The team will be back in action on Friday and Sunday as they hit the road to take on Illinois Springfield and Southern Indiana. Friday's game starts at 7:30 and Sunday's starts at noon.
The Lewis men's soccer team also hit the road this weekend, looking to extend their winning record as well. The team played William Jewell on Friday night in a hard-fought matchup. The Flyers gave up early goals in the first and second halves of the game, but were able to stay alive as seniors Michael Pyle and George Thompson each kicked in goals. The Flyers and Cardinals were tied at the end of regulation and eventually went to double overtime. Neither team put in a goal, which led to the Flyers' first tie of the season at 2. On Sunday afternoon, the team traveled to Rockhurst looking for a victory. Both teams played evenly and the game was tied at the end of regulation at 1. The game eventually went into double overtime, and in the 108th minute, a Rockhurst defender accidentally kicked the ball in his own goal to give the Flyers the 2-1 victory. With the win, the Flyers improved their winning streak to 5 matches. The team will be back in action on Friday and Sunday, taking on Illinois Springfield and Southern Indiana. Friday's game starts at 5 o'clock and Sunday's matchup begins at 2:30.
Both Lewis tennis teams played this weekend in 2 different invitationals. On Saturday, the women's team traveled to Highland Heights, Kentucky to compete at the NKU Norse Women's Tennis Invitational. And freshman Nora Mindairova defeated a pair of Division I players to pick up the Flight A Singles Championship. Sophomore Anna Bonick came from behind in the singles competition and placed second in the B Flight singles bracket. Meanwhile, the men's team played in Indianapolis at the ITA Midwest Regional Championships. Seniors Armand Lavandi and Eric Anapu advanced to the semifinal round of competition. The pair saw success and came away with an 8-6 win over Southern Indiana and proved that they are the best duo in the Midwest. Both teams will be back in action on October 9th, competing in the Small College Championships in South Carolina.
The Lewis cross-country teams opened their seasons at the National Catholic Championships over the weekend. Both teams traveled to South Bend, Indiana to compete in the event hosted by Notre Dame. The women's team collected 2 top 5 finishes, one from sophomore Amanda Farrow and another one from Kirsten Deerdorf. Overall, Farrow placed 3rd in the competition and Deerdorf placed 4th. There was even more success on the men's side of things. Sophomore James Fredrickson placed 6th overall and put up a career best time of 34:47.93. Freshman Andrew Timmons placed 13th overall in the competition. Head cross-country coach James Kearney says he's proud of the way both teams played, and he says it's a successful start to the season. The teams will be back in action in 2 weeks as they travel to Kentucky to take place in the Greater Louisville Classic. So it looks like we had a lot of games going on this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not what sports did play, it's what sports didn't play.
Exactly. I mean, everybody played. I think the baseball team even got some outdoor practices in, so there's a lot going on.
Well, it was really awesome weather, so glad they were able to get outside for a little bit.
Exactly. But we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll have Lewis head cross-country coach James Kearney. Don't go anywhere.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally.
Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls. But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys know statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to make sure your child is protected.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
In 1978, 6 institutions joined to form one of the nation's top NCAA Division II conferences. Today, this union has expanded to 16 proud members celebrating 35 years of commitment to the classroom, championships, and the community. Pioneers who paved the way, leaders who emerged from within. Progress made possible by people. Today, it's those people that inspire the next generation to guide us forward in the next 35 years. We are the Great Lakes Valley Conference.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Welcome back to Flyer Nation. Both Lewis cross-country teams opened their seasons this weekend at the National Catholic Championships hosted by Notre Dame. Both teams had success at the events, and here to talk about the weekend and the season in general is Lewis head cross-country coach James Kearney. Thanks for joining us today, Coach.
Thanks, Shane. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, not a problem. So we'll start off talking about the weekend. How do you think everything went out in Notre Dame?
A mixed bag, some inexperience kind of out there for us. I thought Amanda Farrow and Kirsten Deerdorf really ran well for us on the women's side, including Molly Dalton, who's a sophomore, really coming on. On the men's side, James Fredrickson really had a fantastic day. We just kind of have to grow up a little bit, but we're getting there.
So you talk about the women's team. They came up with 2 top 5 performances. The men's team did pretty well. How important is it to start off the season on such a strong note?
Yeah, it's really important for momentum, especially in our sport where we don't get a lot of opportunities. I think the biggest thing is we have to have some positive momentum rolling so we can continue to build on those things as we go along.
So the cross-country season is pretty short. There's only 6 events in the entire season. And we talked about starting off strongly. Is it tough for the team to make progress with such a short number of events in the season?
And that's the tricky thing when it comes to cross country. I think you spend more time training and you're using the races as more checkpoints along the way for your fitness. The big thing for us is the postseason. Nothing really happens. You can win the Notre Dame Invitational. It doesn't get you into the national meet. So the biggest thing and the biggest focus is the postseason.
So both teams have 2 weeks off before the next invitational. What does that look like in terms of training? Because 2 weeks is kind of a long time.
Yeah, so this kind of our phase of training is more or less just kind of functional, getting used to the collegiate level with such a young group that we do have. So we just kind of spend a lot of time doing fundamental stuff until we get past this next invite that we have.
So last season, the men's team placed second in the GLVC championships, advanced to the NCAA championships. The women placed third in the GLVC and made it to the NCAA championships as well. How do you, as a coach, make sure you get to that level this year, or at least try to get to that level?
Yeah, that's tough. How do you repeat success? I think that speaks to our culture and how we conduct ourselves on a year-to-year basis. The biggest thing for us is to continue to do the things we do well and kind of minimize the things we don't do well, and that comes with experience and age. Just developmentally, we've got a long ways to go.
So you mentioned earlier, you talked about Amanda Farrow on the women's team. It seems like every time we do a story about cross country, she's mentioned somewhere in there. How important is she to that team?
Yeah, she's a huge asset to the group, but I don't think Amanda goes anywhere without Kristen Bonser. And that's the big thing. Those two have each other. You know, you have two of the, what I would say, 25 best runners in the country on the team training together every day. I think they're kind of salt and pepper. They accentuate everything that they do. So
we'll talk about you for a couple of minutes. This is your first season as head coach. You were promoted over the summer from assistant coach. How are you adjusting to the new role from assistant coach to head coach?
It's been interesting. Just kind of going from, you know, when I started here as a GA and then kind of working my way to full-time assistant and now the head coach. A lot more paperwork, a lot more just kind of little minute things that you don't necessarily see Dana doing over there in the corner of the office. But now I know, you know, why the title is such an important title to own and have.
So you mentioned Dana Schwartig, of course, coached the team for the past 7 years, or past 7 seasons. How do you make it, I mean, for the runners, it has to be a little bit of a different experience having, especially the older ones, having Dana as the head coach and then you coming in as being the head coach. How do you guys kind of make that transition easier for them?
Yeah, you know, I've been kind of writing their training for the last 5 years. Dana was more or less just making sure I was doing everything right. And now it's nice to have, you know, that opportunity where if I need advice, I can go to him at the same point. He trusts me enough to kind of, you know, give me the reins and let me go with it. And so we've really just kind of compounded the success that we had last year, trying to build it into this year and do some bigger and better things.
And then there are some runners on the team. This is their first season. There's 15 freshmen total. What's it like to have such a large group of freshmen?
Oh gosh, stressful at times. They're very young. And I have to remember that at times, you know, they're 18, they're 19, they're gonna ask some crazy things sometimes, but it brings a lot of energy to the group. And that's been the most exciting part, is to have that youthful exuberance kind of shine throughout both teams. We kind of lived on that last year with the women's team, making the NCAAs and kind of using our youth to our advantage. You know, we have to make sure that we're learning the right lessons and continuing to take them forward.
So both teams tend to travel together. They go to the same or the same events. What's it like for you as a coach to manage both teams at the same time?
Yeah, it's been really interesting. You know, for the longest time, we did do some things separately, and we still do some things separately. They're focusing on different races. They're focusing on different things, and thus we have different racing strategies and different things that we're planning for, you know, kind of fitting the groups that we have on both sides. It is fun, though, that, you know, at the end of the day, if the women's team has a positive day, the men feed off of that, and vice versa. If the men have a positive day, the women can kind of take that and say, hey, we do some of the similar things. You know, we believe in the same things. Let's continue to push these things together.
So, Flyer fans, what can they expect as the teams progress through the rest of the season?
Oh gosh, I wish I could tell you. We've, you know, with the championship festival this year, Division II, the national meet is going to be much later in December 6th. So my hope is that, you know, for November 8th at our conference meet, you know, we have a great showing there. You know, we're the favorites on the women's side, I would say. We've really got to take advantage of the things we do well and really kind of use that home field advantage on November 8th to our advantage and hopefully come home with a national berth and a conference title.
You know, one last thing, you mentioned the home field. There aren't very many events at home.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be tough for the team.
It is. We train on it every day, which is a huge advantage for us. And the big thing is that knowing kind of the nuances of the course, oh, this turn's a little bit sharper than others, or this hill is a little bit tougher, there's some poor footing here, gives us kind of a leg up on some of the competition, and I think it really will feed us into that, you know, march for a GLVC championship.
All right, Coach, anything else you'd like to add while you're here today?
November 8th, I'd love to have everybody out. It's going to be a big day for us, big day for the program. We'd love to see everybody out that we could get out there.
All right, well, thanks for joining us today,
Shane,
Coach.
I really appreciate you having me.
Not a problem. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
No more pencils, no more books, no more teachers, dirty looks.
School's out for summer. What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%.
To help us do more good this year, go to unitedway.org, because great things happen when we live united.
Mom, can we get some ice cream? Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. We beg to differ. They are snapshots that represent lasting memories, stories to be told for years to come. Our story is one pictured not just with trophies, but with diplomas, friendships, a helping hand. New chapters beginning every season. This is the story of the Great Lakes Valley Conference.
Good one, son.
Last summer, my new dad took me on vacation. First, we went deep sea fishing. Wow!
I'm so proud of you, son.
And then we went on Thunder Shark. That was awesome! Let's go again. 3 times. I gotta say, it was pretty cool.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Oh, not again.
Welcome back to Flyer Nation. All of our Lewis sports teams have seen success early this school year and are doing pretty well in the standings. Let's take a look at where the Lewis women's volleyball team is at. After the pair of victories over the weekend, the Flyers are tied for first place with Indianapolis. Both teams have the same 3-1 record. Southern Indiana, McKendree, and UW Parkside are tied for second place in the conference.
Both Lewis soccer teams are doing pretty well in the GLVC standings. Let's take a look at where they're sitting. The men's team is sitting in second place overall with a 3-0-1 record, and they're sitting just behind Quincy and Umsel, who are tied for first place in the conference. The women's squad is tied for fifth place in the conference with McKendree. Both teams are sitting just behind Missouri S&T and William Jewell.
It's time for our weekly Player of the Week awards. The GLVC didn't pick any Flyers for the title this week, but that doesn't stop us from picking our top picks. We'll start with Maggie Moran of the Lewis women's soccer team. Moran has led the Flyers on the field so far this season and scored the only goal in the game on Friday against William Jewell, making her the Player of the Week.
Our second Player of the Week will go to Cassidy Parsons of the Lewis women's volleyball team. Parsons has been a leader of the team so far this season and played a big role in the team's sweep of Umsel on Saturday night when she hit .571 with a double-double of 13 kills and 12 digs, making her our Player of the Week as well.
So it looks like all of the teams that we talked about, they're in the top of the standings. That's awesome to see.
Yeah, that is awesome, especially so early on in the season. It's good to get a good start.
Right, absolutely, yeah. We'll set a good tone for the rest of the year then.
Exactly. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back here on Flyer Nation.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised.
Practice makes perfect. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just, please, don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. We beg to differ. They are snapshots that represent lasting memories, stories to be told for years to come. Our story is one pictured not just with trophies, but with diplomas, friendships, a helping hand. New chapters beginning every season. This is the story of the Great Lakes Valley Conference.
Separate raw meats from other foods by using different cutting boards. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Last weekend, the Lewis women's volleyball team started their home schedule, but this weekend, most of the teams will be on the road. Let's take a look at the schedule. On Tuesday night, the Lewis women's volleyball team will play St. Francis at 7 o'clock. You can listen to that game on our radio station, WLRA 88.1 FM, or watch it right here on LUTN Channel 6. Both Lewis soccer teams will play on the road on Friday night against Illinois Springfield. The men's game will start at 5:30 and the women will play at 7:30. And then the women's volleyball team will play on the road on Saturday night. The ladies will take on McHenry at 7 o'clock. And then on Sunday, the Lewis soccer teams will play against Southern Indiana. The men will play at noon, while the women will play at 2:30.
If you can't make it out to see the Flyers play in person, you can always watch the games live here on LUTN Channel 6 or online at lewisflyers.com. Also, if you're a hockey fan, be sure to tune in to our radio station WLRA. We're bringing you 2 hockey games this weekend on Friday and Saturday nights. The Lewis Club hockey team will take on St. Norbert's both nights. Be sure to tune in to WLRA 88.1 FM for those games.
This semester, we're looking to make our show even better and bring you more of what you want to see. If you have any suggestions or comments for the show, feel free to send us an email using the address that's on the screen below. We hope to hear from you.
All right, so we had our first hockey broadcast over the weekend, and it was a good one. I heard the hockey team won 15-0.
Yeah, I listened to it, and that's a big score. I kind of couldn't believe what I was listening to.
Right, absolutely. But, I mean, at least it's a win, and hopefully we'll see a lot more of those over the next semester.
Yeah, big win for them, too. All right, well, that will do it for us this week here on Flyer Nation. Thanks for joining us.
Be sure to join us next week right here on LUTN for the latest in Flyer athletics.
From all of us here at Flyer Nation, have a great day.
We have so much to celebrate in Division II, but we're especially proud of our commitment to Make-A-Wish.
Division II student athletes have led a 10-year initiative to raise funds and help grant wishes of children with life-threatening medical conditions.
Nearly $3 million have been raised, and hundreds of children's wishes have been granted.
We play hard, we work hard, and we support others in need. Why? It's simple.
Because we care.